Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to install a catalytic converter security shield in my 2007 Honda Element. This is by a company called Miller Cat, and I installed one of these in my 2022 Toyota Corolla, and I made a video on that. I'll link that in the description, but I was so impressed, and when I found out they had one for the Honda Element, I just had to get one. I've got everything laid out on the bench. Here's the instruction manual, but you don't really have to worry about that because I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing we need to do is we need to pre-assemble the cat converter shield. So it has this and the screws. We're just going to come over here and put these in. I'll flip it over. And a couple things I want to show you. So they included some Loctite. So just put a dash of Loctite on here. If you don't know what Loctite is, it just doesn't allow the bolt to kind of back out. So it's always nice to put on a little Loctite. And then one more thing, the washers. You know, everybody knows about a washer, but did you know that there's a certain way they should be going on? So if you run your finger around it right here, so this is nice and smooth, and this has got kind of a sharp area. So the sharp area is always going to go towards whatever you're trying to fasten. So it's going to go down. There we go. Let's get this last one on there if we can. There we go. I'm using a 1/4-inch socket to house the special tool bit. The 5-lobe pin is a patent design and cannot be purchased from any hardware store or anywhere else. And we're just going to tighten these down. I'm going to just tighten these up. The catalytic converter shield is made out of 304 stainless steel. This is the best protection against the sawzall or corrosion. It's a completely bolt-on installation unless you have a 2-wheel drive, which requires drilling out a hole. But don't worry, I'll show you how to do this. And this is how it should look. Let's go ahead and get this on the car. All right, time to get our shield on. So you're going to have some bolts. I already took these off, holding the shield on. So make sure you take those off. All right, so let's just do a dry fit here. Set that down. So I need to remove the O2 sensor bracket. To do that, let's get this out of its holder. All right, and then it's just a 10 millimeter. I'm going to loosen up this bracket. They also sell a CARB-Compliant catalytic converter for the Honda Element. This means it's compliant in all states, even California. There's a 10 millimeter bolt, set it aside. And then we need to unhook the O2 sensor. And this is the tab right here. So we're going to push the tab. And then you want to pull on the connector, not on the wires, the connector. There you go. So now we can get this up here and just kind of see if everything fits. All right. That's perfect. So there's a bolt that's going to go here and a bolt that's going to go here. And on the other side, there's, looks like 3 bolts over here. But the problem is on a 2-wheel drive, there's no threads on this hole. So we're going to actually fix that right now. I'll show you how to do that. So this is what they call a rib nut. And it just goes right inside here and you squish it down. Let me show you how that works on the bench. If you have a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, there's going to be some threads in here already and you don't have to worry about it. But on two-wheel drives, we need to put an M8 rib nut in here. So this is a rib nut. So a rib nut, it's made for holes that don't actually have threads in them. So what it does is this will go inside the frame once you make a hole. And then this will come in here. You'll tighten it up, and then you'll take a couple of wrenches, and what you end up doing is you end up tightening this down. As you tighten it, this is going to shorten, it's going to squash, and this is going to hold inside the frame. And then when you're all done, you have a nut inside your frame, and then you take your bolt, screw it in, and you're all good. I'm going to use the M8 rib nut, and then I'll drill it out with a 17/32 drill bit. If you don't have a 17/32 drill bit, you can always use one of these stepper drills. Just make sure you don't go too far. You don't want that hole too big. Let's go ahead and torque everything down. These are at 60 to 80 inch-pounds. I've got mine set at 80, the higher end. Let's get these torqued down. All right, let's get that frame drilled out. Here's the hole that I need to drill out. This is my M8 rib nut, and that needs to fit in that hole. I've got my 17/32 drill bit, and I'm just going to drill out that hole. So let me check the rib nut to see if it fits. Oh, it goes in there perfect. Let me get the tool and let me show you how this rib nut gets installed. Now to install the rib nut, I'm going to use this tool, and I'm going to put the rib nut here. I'm going to put the rib nut up into the hole. I'm going to put a wrench here, and then another wrench here. And what I want to do is I want to tighten the lower one, and that's going to squish the rib nut. Let me show you how that works. So I ended up switching to a ratchet to make it a little bit easier on me. And I'm just going to put the ratchet here and then wedge it against the catalytic converter. And then this should be my final. This ended up taking about 10 minutes. Maybe less. This is definitely the hardest part of the job. There is a tool that can make this a lot easier. I would strongly suggest you purchase a rib nut tool. This will save you a lot of time. I'll put a link in the description. There we go. All right, that should be good. We're gonna go the other way. And there's our rivet nut. Here's the O2 sensor wire that's going to go in through here. And we're going to just kind of get it close. I have a spacer here, and then that's going to go here. And then I have a long bolt with a washer. We'll just get these in hand tight. Next, I have the small bolt here with the washer, and I need to take my O2 sensor bracket, and there's a tab right here that hooks into this tab right here. And then we'll take our bolt and we'll just get everything lined up in the hole. And we'll just do it a little hand tight right here. And then let's go to the front and get these bolts on. As far as the passenger side, so these are the M8 bolts and a thick washer. Oh, and they have Loctite on them. And pretty simple process here. Let's get it up. There's one. Let's get the back one. And we got one more to go right here. You're going to need a Fender washer, and then it also gives you a thick washer. So we'll go ahead and put the thick washer in and just kind of get it close in here. There it is. There we go, just kind of get it close. And then we'll go ahead and torque all these up. All right, so let's get our bolts torqued up. I've got my torque wrench set to 80 inch-pounds. The smaller ones are 60 to 80 inch-pounds. And I wanted to go on the higher end of the scale. Let's go torque it up. All right, that's torqued to 80. And then these are going to be 80 to 100. And I want to torque it to 100 inch-pounds. So we're at 100 here. And I got to change the bit. So by the way, these bits, they're just not tamper-proof Torx. They're actually a special design. So it's kind of like a wheel lock key. And you need the special size. A regular Torx isn't going to get these off, which is very comforting. So these are going to be torqued to 100 inch-pounds. There we go. And then the only other thing I need to do on this side is plug in my O2 sensor and then put it in its holder here. Let's go to the other side and get them all torqued up. So I'm just going to repeat the process on this side. These are going to be 100 inch-pounds. And this one. And let's change our bit. Lower our torque back down to 80 inch-pounds. That's it. Perfect. We're all done. I hope this video was helpful today. I'll add links to everything I talked about in the description. Also, the catalytic converter is CARB approved, meaning it'll pass smog in California and any other state. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.